Hello there everybody, welcome to another lunch break Q&A. Today brought to you by
that sweet tea, it's gotta be the stuff for me. Yeah, baby.
Okay, now that the sponsor stuff is out of the way, but welcome to this week's lunch break Q&A. I got some really cool questions from you guys that I plan to go through. And I think I got 5 of them I'm going to try to do today, as long as the video stays short. But let's get going. Okay, so question number 1, as I forget how to click on items, and excuse the messy desk. A lot of late nights recording happening. So this one's by Owen Silker. Did I say that right? Can't see, I'm blind. He says, "Hey Robert, could you talk about your picking technique and right hand positioning next week?" Sure. So let's sit this here computer down, and this is the closest guitar. A lot of people actually ask me about this, and I guess I never realized that my hand was kind of like different, because a lot of people pick kind of like closed fisted. And what I do is I actually like fan my fingers out, more like George Lynch kind of does this. I always thought his hand looked cool. That's not why I do it, but and I noticed my buddy Sam Colson fans his fingers out too. And the reason I do it, I'm not real sure why they do it, but I did it like this because I wanted to be able to mute all the strings all the time. And so like when I'm down here, I fan my fingers out and I can mute all those strings. And it makes it easier for me. So what I do is I take my hand and, like I said, I fan it out, but I set it all the way back here on the very back of the bridge. So it's like, it's barely even on the strings, and I scoot it up a little bit if I want to get more like that like deep chunky palm mute. But I keep it back here, and my hand's anchored almost all the time because I want that light palm mute in there, and it cleans up my playing. As far as picking technique, because I realized my answer was getting kind of long on this one, you know, I kind of use them all. I do a lot of alternate picking. My hands aren't warmed up at all. I do economy picking. Sweep picking. That was a terrible example of sweep picking. And then hybrid picking. So I kind of do all of them. So it's just kind of more like personal preference. Like I said, I forgot I was even planning on playing guitar in this video, so my hands are not warmed up at all. Alrighty, question number 2. It says, what is your, this is by Meta Zealot, which you will see on the screen because I can't pronounce things. He says, what is your favorite new Marshall head or Randall? And to be honest, and this is probably like blasphemy to say, but I've never had a good connection with Marshall amps. I don't know why. I have a friend at the store I teach at, his name's Rusty, and he'll play a Marshall and it'll just sound killer when he's playing it. And I'll grab it and start playing, and I just don't have that kind of like connection. Like and to me, it makes me sound like crap whenever I'm playing. And Randall, I haven't really messed with Randalls in quite a while. Like I said, the last one I had was the V2, which was a killer amp. I just happened to have like a string of defective ones, and that's when I ended up getting my 6505. But I'm just more of a Fender guy. You know, Fender amps, I like their distortion, their cleans, and if anything else, I run a clean and then throw a pedal in front of it, and it gives me that kind of distortion that I'm really going after. So I'm not a huge Marshall guy, which like I said is probably like blasphemy to say. Question number 3 by Nice Dog 1. Robert, please, can you recommend some video editing software? I have just bought a camera and not sure what to get. Thanks. There's lots of, you know, good ones out there. It all depends on what you're running, basically. So if you're running a PC, I would recommend Sony Vegas. That's a really good one. Now, if you're doing like Mac and stuff like that, iMovie's great. You know, just for starting out, for it being free, it's a really powerful video editor. And then I would maybe recommend venturing into more like Final Cut Pro, which I'm not sure. Like I said, iMovie's free. I think Final Cut Pro is around $400. Final Cut Pro 10, I should say. But that one's really good. There's actually, I believe, like big movies like Benjamin Button, that one with like Brad Pitt in it, where he's like old and he like goes back through aging. I think that was edited in Final Cut Pro, to be honest. And even like Brad Paisley, his music video Southern Comfort Zone, I think that was done on Final Cut Pro, and he did that himself. So I say go iMovie, Final Cut Pro, and then go the Mac route. That's what I would recommend. Question number 4 comes from my buddy James Kuhnell. How's it going, buddy? Let's see, the studio is looking good, mate. I noticed that you don't have any Gibson type guitars, Les Paul, SG, etc. Is that for any particular reason? Do you, or do you just like Fender products as much as I do? I don't know why me and single cut guitars have never gotten along. I had a Les Paul for a long time. It was an Epiphone, I shouldn't say a real Les Paul, but I had an Epiphone and I played it forever, and I noticed as I got more into solos, it was really hard for me to play up top, and I kind of went back to my Strat, but I wanted a humbucker sound, so I kind of went the Super Strat route, and that's just where I've stayed, basically. Now there is a Les Paul that I almost got. I wanted it so bad. It was a 1960s traditional reissue Gibson Les Paul T-Burst, and it was so cool because I normally like really big necks, but it had the 60s neck on it, which is a little bit smaller, and man, I wanted it so bad. We finally decided I was gonna get it, and we went back in there and the store had sold it. Someone had went there and bought it. So I've been waiting on it. If it ever comes back in the store, it's mine. So hands off any of you guys looking for one. And we will finish things off with one final question. This one comes from Buddha Guitar. He says, I have a Yamaha ERG 121. It's a starter kit guitar, so I changed the amp to a Roland X120, and everyone says it sounds good for metal, but I can't get a good distortion tone. Is it from the guitar or the amp? It can kind of be both. I mean, I had amps that were defective, and they didn't sound too good. But sometimes a starter guitar is not going to have the hottest or like clearest pickups, so it might not be the best thing for metal, because a lot of metal players want like EMGs, like real high output, or just like a really crisp pickup. So it could be your guitar, you know, that is one possibility. I started on a very cheap guitar that had single coils in it, and you know, it was kind of tough because single coils are really low output. So it could be the guitar, man. It could be the amp. I don't really have an experience with that particular amp. I had a Roland Cube when they first came out, and I sold it to my buddy for like super cheap whenever his basement flooded and like destroyed all of his amps, and he needed an amp, so I wasn't really using it, so I just sold it to him for cheap. But yeah, that's kind of all I really know about it. I would say, you know, try out some other guitar thing. You take your amp to a music store and try out some guitars in it. That might kind of answer that one for you. But anyways, that will wrap it up for this week's lunch break Q&A. I hope you guys had sweet tea. I definitely had mine today. Sweet tea. That good. That real good. But if you guys have questions, please leave them below in the comment section. I will pick 4 or 5 of them next week, answer them in another video, and we will chit the chat and talk the talk, and I guess we'll walk the walk a little bit or something. But I will see you guys next week. Leave those comments below, and I will get to you next week. Peace out, and a really cool lesson video coming this week, so get pumped up. See you later, guys.